Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Fit Father podcast. This is episode number 3. My name is Spencer Gallo. I'm the founder of Gallo Fitness and the host of the Fit Father podcast. Today, I'm talking to an amazing father of 2, that dad at Disney, a former jersian, one of my best friends. He is a self-proclaimed limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheelin' dealin', marathon running dad of 2 kids, Ryan and Alyssa. Ladies and gentlemen, Dominick Lorusso. Dom, thanks for coming, man. Welcome to the pod.
What's up, buddy? How are you?
Good. How you been?
Pretty good. Had to turn on the heat in the house this morning. It's cold down in Florida today.
Yeah, you Floridians complaining about 60-degree weather. I'm up here with a hoodie.
Oh man, it's 45 degrees this morning.
Man, you move out of Jersey and then you go to Florida and now you're just spoiled with having that heat wave.
I know, and my kids too. It's crazy. Walks outside and they say they're freezing. So,
Well, yeah, I mean Ryan only knew Jersey when he was so young that it didn't really matter.
Yeah,
he's only known Florida.
Yeah, he moved down here when he was 10 months old. Alyssa was born here, so.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, what's going on? What do we let's talk.
Yeah. I would say let's jump right in. So give everybody listening kind of a little bit of your background, work, family. Obviously we went to school together. We've known each other for a very long time. So for everybody listening, kind of give them that background of what you do, your wife, kids, and ultimately kind of wrap it up with how you ended up deciding that you wanted to become a marathon runner.
Okay. All right. So obviously, Spencer said my name is Dominick, and I originally lived up in New Jersey. I moved down to Florida right in the middle of the pandemic of July of 2020. So that was fun. We moved to Orlando. We just wanted to be closer to Disney. We moved with my son Ryan, who was 10 months at the time, our 2 dogs, Desna and Morgan, and let's see what else. We had our daughter Alyssa down here, so she's a full-born Floridian with the Floridian birth certificate, the only one. I'm an architect. I work for Fugelberg Kosh Winter Park, Florida, down here. My wife's a teacher. She teaches 4th grade. And why I wanted to become a marathoner. I've constantly done half marathons, 10Ks, 5Ks. I always said I wanted to do a full marathon. And moving down here to Florida, where you could train year round, don't have to worry about running in the cold, made that possible. So that's why I decided to finally pull the trigger and do it.
So now for those of you listening, when he says they moved to Orlando to be closer to Disney, they had a Disney proposal and a Disney themed wedding. So when he says they wanted to be closer to Disney, this is a Disney family through and through.
My wife and I got tired of leaving here. We used to, jump on those $40 flights from Spirit from Atlantic City to Orlando just for the weekend. And we finally just said, you know what, we're sick of leaving here. Let's just stay here. So that's what we decided to do.
Nice. So I'm gonna throw you a quick layup. Do you want to brag about your time and pace for the marathon?
Oh yeah. All right. So I ran that 26.2 miles in 5 hours and 34 minutes. It was tough. Not gonna lie. I would say it was harder. I would say it was harder mentally than it was physically, to be honest with you. But yeah, I did it. I came in. What was it? 30,962nd place out of over 12,000. So not that bad.
Top 25.
Yeah, top 25. So not too bad. I'll take it for my first one.
Yeah, right. So the next one you're going to be running is Boston Marathon, going for the win or something?
Oh man, I wish. I said the only way I would do a full marathon is if it was a Disney marathon or a Boston marathon, and unfortunately, I probably wouldn't qualify for the Boston Marathon, so I'll settle for just Disney.
Yeah. So how many does Disney run marathons like all the time, or is it like they have one marathon and then you either run it or you don't?
No, so Run Disney has a run season. It starts in November and it concludes in April. So November is usually the wine and dine. So that's just a half marathon, 10K, 5K. The January gets into, that's the Walt Disney World Marathon weekend. That's where the marathon is. That's the only marathon that Disney hosts during the year, because the rest of the events just end with either 10Ks or half marathons. So it's
Gotcha.
one time for the year.
Gotcha. So kind of take it all the way back before Disney 5Ks, 10Ks. Where did you kind of start coming into running and wanting to become a runner? I know me personally, like I hate running. I hate cardio. So what got you into becoming a runner?
And that's what makes us great friends, because we're opposites. Like, I hate going to the gym and weightlifting and everything like that, and you hate running, and I love running. So where I got in from running, my dad was a big runner. He always ran like the races in New Jersey, like the Spring Lake 5 and all those things. So I always ran with him, and I loved running with him. It was always a way for me to, de-stress, and it was just my time, my peaceful time. I People probably find this weird. I do not run with headphones. I run in silence. I like to just be in my own mind and just put my head down and go. And it's my time away from everything chaotic, and that's just what I love to do to de-stress.
Yeah, 1,000%. You are a sociopath for running without headphones.
Yeah.
Like it's not a debate.
Everybody always gives me such a hard time. Like, what do you listen to when you run? Podcasts or anything like that? Nope, silence. I don't like to listen to anything.
I can't imagine. I mean, I also like, because I am a gym goer, I can only imagine like the days that my headphones die mid workout and I'm like, crap.
Yeah. Don't
But
gyms always have music going and stuff like that, and TVs and stuff like that. When you're running, you're just out on the road. You got nothing around you. But
yeah.
it's peaceful and it's relaxing for me, and that's why I love it.
So
The gym stresses me out. There's so many people, there's so many pieces of equipment all around that I don't personally know what to do with, sometimes. So that gives me like anxiety and stresses me out. That's why I just like to do my own thing in my own lane and run.
yeah. So excuse me. That said, you did dabble in weightlifting for a while, correct?
Yeah, you got me into that. I'll blame that on you.
How'd that go?
It was okay. I mean, I enjoyed, again, the benefit of living in Florida. I used to, and, we have a clubhouse with our own gym here in our neighborhood. So it was nice that, when the kids went to bed at 9 o'clock, I would take my bike over to the gym. It's like 3/4 of a mile bike ride. And I did enjoy that. But when I got to the gym, it just, honestly, it stressed me out. I mean, personally, it didn't do much for me. Like, I didn't like it. I didn't love it. It's just not my thing.
Yeah. You just
But I
stick to
tried
running and
it. But I tried it. And it's not for everybody.
yep. Yeah, totally hear that. So for those of you that don't know, I was a layup for myself. I coached him for a couple of months to I got hey man, I need to start lifting and lose some weight. Can you help me out? And I was training Dominic for I think it was probably about 3 months.
Yeah, 3 months. Great coach, great app to work with. Really, told you what you needed to do, and get it done as quick as possible for a busy dad like me. And Spencer knew what he was doing, but it's just not for everybody.
Yeah. That said, given that obviously for a marathon, like you don't just pick up one day and say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna go run 26 miles and I've never run a day in my life. So with marathon training, you kind of mentioned it earlier, is that balancing the kids, being in Florida, you were able to train kind of year round for that marathon. How did that kind of balance between your wife, your kids, work, like all that? How are you able to balance kind of that training schedule, knowing that, if you ran a marathon in 5.5 hours, you're probably doing training runs for like 2 hours? Like, how are you able to balance
Longer
those
than
runs with like
longer
all
than
of your
that.
family obligations?
Yeah, so my wife, she really took over for me while I was doing this training. The training is tedious. I mean, uh, what was it? Wednesdays and Fridays, I would wake up, do 2 to 3 miles at 5:30 in the morning. That was every Wednesday, Friday. Sundays were always my long runs, so I would do 8, 9, 10. The longest training run that I did was 20 miles, and that was a little over 4 hours. Luckily, my mom was here watching the kids, so Lauren was able to bike that with me and have water, jelly beans, like all that kind of stuff to get me through that 20-mile run. But I trained, I ran over, what was it? I think over 300 training miles or something for this marathon. So it's very time consuming, but I'm happy I did it. Looking back, I wouldn't change it.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to bring up is just like the mindset of kind of running 26 miles. I think you and I have had this conversation, but you mentioned it a little bit earlier as well. Is at what point in 26 miles do you just hit a wall where you're like, you know what, F this. I really wish that I hadn't done this.
Oh man, so Disney is great, and being a Disney fanatic, um, so you start in Epcot and you're running the roads all around Disney, and then mile 10 is running right down Main Street, USA, running right to the castle, mile 10. Then you leave Magic Kingdom at mile 11, and then you go on a long stretch from like 11 to 18, and that's where you hit Animal Kingdom. So between that 11 and 18, that was like hell, dude. It was, mile 15, 16, 17, that's where you're hitting a wall and you're like, what the hell am I doing? Because I still have 9 miles to go or 10 miles to go at mile 16. And but Disney is great with it, and that's why I said I'd always do a Disney marathon, because they have entertainment throughout the course. I mean, they had characters, live bands, DJs, everything to distract you from it. But to answer your question, yeah, mile 15, 16, 17, that's where you hit the wall.
Gotcha. So how did you kind of overcome that, like in your own brain? Like obviously you already said like you don't run with headphones, so it's not like you can just like zone in and be like, okay, like just keep running to the beat or whatever. Like what I don't like running, but when I did run, like I would put on like high BPM music and just focus on like the rhythm. It was like just a metronome basically beating in my head. Like how did you balance when you hit that, 15, 16, where you're like, I friggin' hate this. Like, I wish that I could stop, and you don't have headphones. Like, how are you overcoming that to like keep pushing to get to that like Animal Kingdom piece of the marathon?
No, like I said, like right there was characters in the live band. The live band was awesome, so that really helped out and gave you like the boost that it needed. And I just kept thinking, my kids are at the finish line, my wife's at the finish line, my parents and my in-laws are at the finish line waiting for me, and I just wanted to accomplish this with all of them. To have all of them there just kept getting me through the race, knowing that they were all at the finish line waiting for me. So
Yeah, and I can imagine like you all of a sudden you like show up on like the little golf cart and you're like, yeah, I didn't finish that. Like just that like feeling of defeat.
that was never in my mind, man. That was never in my mind. The problem I did have was I started out really fast. I guess my adrenaline was pumping, and I was training like 12:50, 13-minute miles, just because I knew, long distance, you got to slow your pace down. I'm no Olympian. And I actually went out of the gate, my first 10 miles, I was doing 10:45s, and I had to slow myself down because I knew I was going to gas out. I didn't realize it. My adrenaline was just going. And yeah, so slowing myself down at that point also helped too.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine like coming out, it's like the horse racing. It's like you come out of the chute real fast and then all of a sudden you're like, oh wait, I can't keep this up forever. Like,
Yeah, in Disney, they count you down 3, 2, 1. They got the big fireworks going. You're going under the fireworks, and your adrenaline's pumping. So
yeah, it's like walking out to WrestleMania.
yeah, exactly. I didn't check my pace until I got to Magic Kingdom, because my family was going to see me on Main Street, so the spectators can be everywhere scattered throughout the course, and they were going to be in Magic Kingdom, and they were like, dude, you're going really fast. Like, we didn't anticipate you getting to Magic Kingdom that fast. That's when I finally checked my pace, and I was like, oh, can we curse on this? I didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I got the little E on the podcast.
I was like, oh shit, I didn't realize I was going, 10-minute, 45-second miles. I got to slow down. So my kids and Lauren didn't make it to Magic Kingdom, but my parents were there. So it was good.
So during like the training and everything, obviously, like again, I'm not a runner, but I've watched the Boston Marathon quite a few times from my time living there.
Watched it together. Yeah.
Yep. So you mentioned that like one of your last long runs was the 20 mile that like Lauren was able to come with you and kind of feeding you like jelly beans and water and stuff.
Yeah.
So throughout the course, obviously, like in Boston, like they have all the little stands and all that, and spectators are literally just like giving you like orange slices and stuff. But for you, as you were going through, like what were the things that, or like was there locations or times or anything like that where you're like, I know I'm going to eat or have this thing at this point, and kind of what were those things that you were using to fuel yourself to keep going?
Yeah. So at the beginning of the race, are you talking about the actual marathon or training?
Both, I
Both.
guess, is just
Both.
kind of the like
Yeah.
what food were you eating? Like obviously you can't just run, like you can't be an asshole eating McDonald's every day of the week and be like, hey, I'm gonna go run a marathon. Like you obviously had to be fueling your body in a very specific manner.
I did eat McDonald's, man, and I eat at Disney every weekend, you know. But okay, so really, the night before the first, let's see, the last 4 nights before the actual marathon, I was just eating, pasta, carbing up, water. I was watching my sugar intake before the marathon. I just didn't want to drink soda or anything like that because soda's cramps. That's bad. So yeah, but during the race, I said to myself, I was going to stop at every water station because it was going to be humid. It started out cold because the race starts at 5 in the morning. You got to be there at 4 in the morning. So I was leaving my house at 2:30 in the morning. Um, I knew it was going to be cold at the beginning, but then they called for it to be humid later on. So, hydrating during the race was key. And they reminded us constantly of that. They would have it on the DJ booth, the speakers, everything. So I was always stopping. It was great. They had Powerade water. You could choose whatever you wanted. Some of the food that they gave out during the race, bananas, um, these energy jelly beans, which I don't know if you've ever seen them before. They're made by Jelly Belly, but they're loaded with whatever you guys, probably what you put in your powdered drink or
Yeah, it's
whatever.
like caffeinated or
Yeah,
something.
something like that. They were pretty good, not bad. But yeah, those gave us the extra boost at like 18. They also had like water towels, sponges, and everything like that to keep yourself cool and everything because it did get humid by 10 o'clock. It was pretty warm, and you're running on the pavement in Florida, so got hot.
Yeah.
So yeah, just hydration was key. Lauren would bring like crackers, pretzels, salts. Salts was big because you're sweating, you're losing the salt and everything. So yeah, that was key, and I would do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say, did you already sign up for the next one?
I did not. I think I'm gonna take a year off, and then maybe I'll get into the next one. We'll see. I think my kids need to be a little older because, like I said, it was very hard and time consuming with a 3 and a 1-year old at home to know on a Sunday I had to go out and run, 2-3 mile training runs, um, and knowing, I felt bad sometimes leaving my wife home every Sunday in the morning with the kids, but we have a great balance and she's training for her half marathon now. So we flipped the roles and I'm taking care of the kids while she trains for her half marathon.
Nice. I assume also a Disney marathon.
Of course, dude. We live in Orlando. Duh.
Awesome, man. So when it comes to, like you mentioned earlier, you got into running because of your dad. Were there anybody like, would you have any other mentors or coaches or anything like that? Like maybe in like high school, like if you did like track and field or any of that, like were there any, people that you looked up to outside of your dad or I guess including your dad that were kind of mentors that were kind of pushing you to get into running and running better or smarter or anything like that?
Yeah, so being a pitcher in high school for baseball, they always made us run because we had to build our stamina and everything like that. So that's where running really started. And that's where my dad, got me into running because you need to build that stamina. Pitchers run, in between innings, you would run the warning track for high school and everything. So, that's where it started. And I never took it really seriously because honestly, I didn't like it. I didn't like running in high school. I never went distance like in high school. The most I would do is probably 3 miles. That's it. But then, as I got older, I didn't even really run in college. So it was really after college, coming home, that's where I really started running. And it was the Disney races that really got me into running, and enjoying running.
Yeah, I would say I don't like during college in our time that we knew each other, like I don't remember you being
Yeah.
like a huge runner and like getting up at 5 in the morning and running the streets of Boston.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember a few handful times where I went to, go run like around Fenway Park because, we could. It was
Yeah.
awesome to do so. But, Boston's freaking cold it was probably cold 3/4 of the time that we were there. We weren't there in the summer except, the last year. So it was always cold. And, who wants to run in the freezing cold?
Yeah, right.
Your lungs tighten up, so yeah.
When it comes to kind of post college, I know that at one point in time, I actually just told a story on a previous episode of how I was like doing intermittent fasting and low carb and all that. And I'd come to visit you and tried to steal my freaking McDonald's from me. Speaking of McDonald's. But I remember at that point, like I got up at like 7 o'clock one morning and I was like, got up, went like walked out to get coffee or whatever. And I was like, where the hell is Dominick? And it was like, you were out on like some crazy long run or whatever.
Yeah. Dude, just you wait until you have kids and you don't have a second to yourself. You'll be eating McDonald's. You'll text me. I guarantee it. You'll be like, all right, this is a quick meal just to get food on the table. I guarantee it when you have kids.
I'm sure it's coming, but
It's coming. Just you wait. Just you wait. Because you'll do anything to just get yourself 10 minutes where you don't have to cook anything or meal prep or anything. When you have a 3 and a 1-year-old, you're in survival mode, I'll tell you that.
so that is a good point though. So when it comes to, like diet and nutrition, is like you guys go to Disney all the time, you're eating out at Disney, you obviously like occasionally will end up getting, McDonald's or Burger King or whatever, like fast food. How are you kind of balancing that aspect with, like hey, I'm training for a marathon, like I need to eat certain things or train properly, and like, you're mid-30s, like early mid-30s, like how are you kind of balancing all of that with just the general health aspect of like your kids are 3 and 1, like you kind of want to be around when they're running marathons at 30 years old.
Yeah. So, Disney actually has a shirt. I run Disney so I can eat Disney. So I run to keep my weight down from eating whatever I want. When I'm running, I constantly stay, people, run so they could lose weight or something like that. But, running doesn't necessarily get you to lose weight. You've talked to me about that. We've had that conversation. But I also run just to maintain, so I can eat what I want. At this stage in the game, do I want to eat better, when my kids are, older and everything like that? And when I have more time, like I get home at 6 o'clock, my kids go to bed at 8. I don't want to spend an hour of that time that I could have with my kids cooking, cleaning up dinner and everything like that. I want to spend those 2 hours that I have with my kids. So to just put a quick meal on the table, to just get a quick, dinner, even if it's fast food. Look, I know fast food's not the best for you, obviously, but like I said, it's just when you have a 3 and a 1-year-old, you're getting home from work at 6 o'clock, the kids go to bed at 8. It's survival mode, and that's that's life. And you'll find out, you'll see, and I'm sure a lot of dads out there will agree with me. It is survival mode when you have those young kids and you just want to spend time with them.
Yeah. I mean, even now, like when I get home from work, it's like 3-4 hours of time of home just like to relax and do whatever, like outside of coming home from engineering, it's like coming home, working on podcast stuff, working on coaching, like all of the other hats that I have to wear, is trying to balance all of that with hey, like I still want to spend time with my fiance and my dog, and
Yeah.
kick back and be able to watch an episode of Netflix and not feel like I'm a lazy POS sitting on a couch doing nothing.
Exactly. And I gotta say, I don't feel like I'm that at all. Because like I said, it just, this is temporary. The kids are 3 and 1. They're this age, once in a lifetime, and I want to enjoy and take in every second that I have with them at this age, because they're great. They're so much fun to be around, and we just laugh and have fun, and I enjoy every second of it.
So the last episode I was talking with Robert McVie, and he brought up how once his son was born, he's like, every single thing that he does, previously leading up to that was like, it was about me, it was about my wife, and like that was it. He's like, but then my kid came. He's like, every single thing that I do now is for him and for my kids. Like the analogy that he said, he's like, it literally, when they were born, it was like somebody ripped my heart out and like duct taped it to him, and every time that he comes and goes, like he takes like my heart with him everywhere, and like I'm just here for them.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I mean, that's why you don't want to spend your time slaving in the kitchen and everything like that. You just want to play with them. And when you get home from work, they're so excited to see you because they haven't seen you all day. And, when you get that daddy come play, that's what you want to do. So the dinner, and that's the last thing on my mind when I get home and you hear those words, daddy come play. That's what you want to do.
Yeah. So obviously, most people don't know this, but you and I probably formed a pretty good bond and relationship because of our fanhood of the WWE throughout college.
Yes.
Numerous pay-per-views. I think we're at 3 WrestleManias together now.
I think, yeah, that's what we're at. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I've been to 4 because you didn't come to New Orleans the second time, but we've done 3 WrestleManias together, at least 1 Royal Rumble.
yeah.
I think I did at least 1 more podcast. I don't remember, or what, not podcast, Jesus, 1 more pay-per-view. I don't remember what it was.
Night of Champions in Boston.
That's right. Yeah, we sat like 6th row. That's right. I
Yeah.
knew it was something in Boston.
Yeah.
So that said, what is Ryan's number 1 wrestling move right now?
Oh man, he loves taking the suplex. So here we go. I am taking him to his first show here at the Amway Center, Monday Night Raw, February 6th. He's afraid of fireworks, so I'm not sure how I'm going to get around this yet.
He's got earplugs or something.
So we'll see how it goes, but he does love it. He likes watching it with me. He loves, doing the moves. Now that he's in school, I have to tone it down a little bit because I don't want him to, go into school and start suplexing people and jumping on them like he does with me. So yeah, suplex. He loves jumping off the bed onto me. Getting him into wrestling. First show at 3 years old, Monday Night Raw. Let's do it.
There you go. I'm sure that's way, way, way past his bedtime, but
my mother-in-law is not happy about it, but whatever.
That's why she's your in-law.
Exactly. Bulls tonight. Tell me, who's your pick to win it?
Oh my God, I haven't watched in so long.
Rumble is tonight. I don't know. I don't know when this is going to air, but it's Saturday.
Yeah. So today, this is being recorded Saturday, January 28th. It will be released February 1st. So for all of you listening, you already know the answer to this question. Or if not, you can at least Google it. I don't even know. Dude, I mean, you remember this. I texted you and one of our other friends, Adriano, like 3 months ago. And I was like, when did pay-per-views move to Saturday? And you guys were like, it's been like this for like a year. Like, what are you talking about?
ever since COVID, everything changed during COVID, of course. But yeah, I mean, it's great. Pay-per-views on a Saturday is much better, in my opinion.
It's easier. I mean, that was always the hard part on like Sundays when it was like WrestleMania was like a 6-hour show. It ended at midnight, and you're like, I gotta get up and go to work tomorrow.
We went to the one WrestleMania. What was it? I forget, the one in East Rutherford, MetLife Stadium, and they were
when you got the flu.
Yeah, no, the second one for my birthday. The second one.
Oh yeah.
They started the last match. What was it? They were starting the last match at 12:30. On a Sunday.
Yeah, we didn't even watch it. We left when they started the match.
Yeah. That was
so late.
Ronda Rousey. Yeah, okay. But yeah, I'm going with The Rock tonight. The Rock's returning to WWE.
I don't know about that, but
Yeah.
I feel like what little I've been paying attention, I feel like I hear a lot of good things about Solo Sikoa,
Mm,
that I
yeah.
think that could be a nice little play with the whole Roman Reigns bloodline thing.
Yes. Yeah. But I'm going with The Rock. I'm going with The Rock. My boy, The Rock.
Yeah, I think The Rock is also, so I have my hit list of folks that I would love to have come on the podcast, and pretty high at the top, probably right below or above Lane Norton, is Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Kevin Hart is also on this list. It's a hit list, man. I got to manifest it, put it out into the world, so somebody will hear this, somebody will put it along.
I'm a big believer of that. You put it out in the universe, it'll come true. It'll come to fruition.
So that is the hope, is that one of these days The Rock will come on. And I've said to Erin, my fiance, for everybody listening, I said to her, I was like, if I ever actually got The Rock on the podcast, I would literally open the screen, I would see Dwayne Johnson on Zoom, I would freeze, screenshot it, and then just log out, because I would have no functional capabilities to actually hold a conversation with The Rock without hardcore fangirling.
And I will fly my ass up there because I will co-host that episode with you. Yeah, sure. If you got The Rock on.
Yeah, I was like, I would just be at a loss, complete and utter loss for words of how do I talk to the biggest name it probably in the world right now.
I say
everybody knows who The Rock is.
I say it to everybody. The only two celebrities, and I've met a couple, good amount of celebrities, the only two celebrities that I would totally fangirl over, Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Tom Brady.
Yeah, I've unfortunately, and you know this, I am a diehard Eagles fan, but I have had the unfortunate circumstances to use Tom Brady as a very good reference and metric for fitness and kind of accountability.
Talk about a fit father, Tom Brady, Jesus, playing the NFL 45.
Well, okay, so first of all, Tom Brady is 45 years old, and the only reason that he is still as in shape as he is, and this came out a few years ago, is that Tom Brady kisses his kids on the lips, and I am convinced that Tom Brady is a dementor, and he is sucking the souls out of his children, and that's how he stays so fit. I'm convinced.
I love you and your conspiracy theories. They're always top notch. I'll tell you
that. Yeah, I mean, dude, dementors are real.
Yeah, okay. And then we have The Rock on his Instagram getting his nails painted and getting his makeup done by his daughter. So,
well,
I don't know.
I don't. Yeah, well, I don't think you know who he is, but Lane Norton is a huge influence for me on fitness and coaching and everything. He literally, I think it was in December, he became a national champion powerlifter again, and he did it with, I think, bright pink or bright purple nail paint, because his daughter had painted his nails the day before the competition. I'm like, dude, kudos
to him for leaving that on during that.
Yeah, and I'm like, you want to talk about somebody that is the epitome of a proud father. You let your daughter paint your nails. One, awesome. Two, you went and you won a friggin' national powerlifting title with painted nails.
Yeah. Good for him. That's your love your kids. That's for your kids. That's great. So when are you coming down to Florida?
I will be down in 2 weeks.
No, I mean moving here, living here.
That's not going to happen.
That's another conversation we'll have. Okay.
Yeah. Once this podcast takes off and I start getting sponsored by the likes of McDonald's and Anheuser-Busch, maybe we'll talk about it.
Then you'll probably have to go live out in LA or something like that.
Yeah. I'll be getting my nails painted by somebody else, and it won't be my kid, but just to just throw money at things.
Yeah, there you go. Good luck. All power to you. Good luck.
Awesome, man. So I think kind of wrapping up a little bit, is there any story that you think you could tell that really sums up kind of overall fatherhood and the kind of maintaining being able to be a marathon runner while also dealing with all of your family obligations, like, is there one story from maybe like your training that really like sums up, or even, I guess, seeing the kids at the finish line, like what's one story that you would say really like solidifies the concept of maintaining your fitness while still being a freaking awesome dad?
Yeah, so I mean, maybe it's not really maybe a story, more advice, but always, my kids after all my runs, they knew when I was running. So they knew when I got home because I would text my wife, say I'm home, can I have water? And my kids would run out with a cup of ice water for me when I was done. But for all the dads out there, I would say if you have something that you want to do it. You can do it. Even if you have a 3 and a 1 year old at home and you're tired from your 3 and a 1 year old, you can do it. Put your mind to it, get it done, put your head down and go. You can do it. Don't let your kids limit you. Live your life and enjoy your life as well. As long as you live, you know, happily with your kids and, just do what you want to do. Live your life too.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's so true. And I apologize for everybody. This is going to come across punny because Dominick's a marathon runner, but like I've said it literally in the last 2 episodes, and I now will say it again on the third, is small steps lead to big impacts. And I think that is so true, is that so often, like you hear that, dads have to be the role models. They have to be the Alta dad. Like they have to be the big, strong father. They can't do all these things, but then they'll let their own health and wellness kind of go by the wayside because they're like, well, I don't have time, or I can't make the time. And I think that's something that, to your point, is you can and you should do the things for you. Like you need to have your time in your life just as much as you need to have your family time as well.
Just because you have kids doesn't mean you can't have goals. Set goals for yourself. My kids, they loved watching me run. As soon as I got home, my son would ask me, can I go run? Ryan would say, let's go run. He wanted to run too. So, he's watching. Your kids are watching you do the things that you're doing. They want to mimic you. So if you're running, you're outside, you're getting that exercise, they're going to want to do the same thing. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Yeah. I genuinely assume that, like, so you said you're going to take a year off, so you won't run a marathon at 23, but I pretty much assume that at this point, like, Ryan's going to be the youngest kid to ever run the Disney marathon at this point.
He can,
like, he's going to run a marathon at like 5.
No, I think you have to be 18, but I want him to run. He can do the 5Ks when he turns 12. So we'll start small. Me and Lauren's doing her half marathon. Sorry, not to get off topic, but Lauren's doing her half marathon at the end of February. And then we have a 10-miler, Toy Story 10-miler run through Epcot and Hollywood Studios in the middle of April that we're really looking forward to.
Yeah, you guys are like just a straight up running family. Like, again, I go back to when I was visiting you guys. Like, you guys would get up first thing in the morning and like go for runs. And this is well before you had kids. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think you guys were even married yet. Like, you were still dating and living together. I don't know if you were even engaged at that point when I came down to visit. You were still in the first house in Bayville.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we would run all there because that was along the bay, along the water there. So that was a nice running trail along there, running right along the Barnegat Bay. So that was fun. This was fun.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on. So unlike everybody else that's come on the podcast who kind of has their own thing to sell and pitch, I do want to give you the opportunity to take a couple minutes and just kind of throw out whatever you want to talk about. Is there anything that you feel like we didn't talk about, or is there anything that you want to be talking about or promote or anything like that? Kind of floor is yours.
So I run an Instagram account, that dad at Disney. Spencer mentioned it at the beginning. I kind of document all, me, my kids, my wife, we go to Disney every weekend. So I use this account to document, my kids doing their first roller coaster or meeting, the characters or anything like that. And I also give advice to, like, if you're going to vacation down in Disney World, because everybody knows Disney's not a relaxing vacation. It's stressful as hell. So if you need tips or anything like that, follow my Instagram account. It'll help you out. And message me. I'll be more than happy to give you any advice you need when you visit the Walt Disney World Resort down here in Orlando.
And that only translates to Orlando, right? Like you don't cover both
No,
land and world.
Disneyland too. I've been there a couple times too. I love Disneyland too. So anything you need Disney wise, let me know. I'll help you out.
Awesome. And I will, for everybody listening, I will add Dominick's Instagram account, that dad at Disney, in the show notes for you to not have to go hunting. You can just click on it. It'll take you straight there. So you can go and follow him and, see all the awesome things. I know that I think Ryan, so again, today is end of January, but Ryan just this month was finally tall enough to get on to a ride, correct?
He finally hit his 38-inch mark. So he went on his first big boy roller coaster, Seven Doors Mine Train at Magic Kingdom, and he loved it. The video, the point of view video is on my Instagram account. You could see his face. He was smiling and laughing the whole time. It was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I so for those of you listening, I went down in, at this point, October of 21.
Yeah. Yes.
It was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was, very beginning, we kind of got there and Ryan was very much like, okay, I'm gonna hang with dad. And then all of a sudden Dominick had to walk away for something. And I don't think that I put Ryan down for the rest of the day. He was just attached to me at the hip.
Yeah.
Like I was carrying him around or holding his hand, walking around Disney for like 8 more hours.
Yeah.
And it was just seeing
the Caribbean. Yeah. And I have pictures. Great. It was awesome. So much fun. Wish you guys
just like I personally I like Disney. I'm a huge Marvel person personally, but I like Disney, I like Pixar, I like all of that stuff, not nearly as much as Dominick does, but I hadn't been to Disney World in 20 something years, and like my recollection of it was so minimal, like it was not there, and it was just so much fun to not only experience Disney World, but then to be able to experience it for myself, but then also seeing it through the eyes of like a 2.5-year-old. Like it was just a totally different experience. And it was just so much fun to not only be there and have my own experiences, but being able to experience it through Ryan was just like so much fun to just see how much enjoyment he was getting out of it.
Yes. Yep. And that's why we go every weekend, because a smile never leaves their face, and they always come home tired and they sleep through the night. So that's why we're there every weekend.
Yeah, I totally hear that. I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right, man. So is there anything else that you want to talk about?
That is it, man. I appreciate you having me on here, and I wish you the best of luck with this podcast, of course, and everything else that you do. I'm looking forward to seeing you soon.
I appreciate it. So Dom, thanks again for a great interview. There's definitely a lot of good advice and good bits and pieces in here for the dads and the audience to take away. Thank you very much for sharing your Disney expertise and running experiences so graciously. So thank you to everybody and all the dads in the audience listening and joining us on another amazing podcast episode of the Fit Father Podcast, and how one fit father has done it and even managed to run a marathon with little ones at home. To wrap up, I am Spencer Gallo of Gallo Fitness. Thank you for joining me on the Fit Father Podcast. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to these episodes so we can keep everything ad-free and get the message out to all the dads in the world. I hope everybody has a great day, week, month, year, and I look forward to hearing you or talking to you on the next episode. Thanks, everybody.